Welcome to the Richard Stewart Show. My name is Richard Stewart. I'm a former national team player for the Canadian national team who won a silver medal for Canada in the 91 games in Sheffield, England. I also played at St. Joseph's University NCAA Division I in the Atlantic 10 Conference.
Stewart again down the lane, no foul, they let him have it. Richard has 19.
Currently, I own Advanced Basketball Canada, a program that teaches kids how to play basketball from the fundamentals to the more advanced. Two of the notable players that I've trained are Dillon who plays for the Memphis Grizzlies,
and Brooks will go and jam it with the right hand off the setup by Moran.
And Ignas Brazdeikiz,
Brazdeikiz to steal, some contact, and we play on. Brazdeikiz,
who plays for the New York Knicks. I also train ladies, and the ladies that are in university and have played in Europe as well. So I have a lot of ladies who have trained and are playing basketball. Welcome to the Richard Stewart Show. My name is Richard Stewart. Hey, true believers, thank you for tuning in. On today's program, I have a treat for you. I have two of my proteges. Look at these two guys. Nice, good-looking young men, eh? Over here on my left is Matt Marzetti, right? A local basketball player who went to Holy Trinity, point guard there. And on my right here, we have Amon. And Amon is my assistant on training kids and stuff like that. A good basketball player, a great teacher, just graduated with a degree in engineering. And on my left, as I said, Matt is in pre-law. So ladies and gentlemen, I have two intelligent guys right beside me to keep me looking a little bit smarter today. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a treat for you today. My special guest is Dr. Ray Washington, and just a great human being, specializes in bariatric surgery, general surgery, and board certified in the American Board of Surgery. Teammate of mine at St. Joseph's University, a point guard, just a wonderful player, and obviously he's out there saving lives, and just want to give him props and say thank you for your service, doctor, for helping all those out there who are ill. Ray, how are you, my friend?
I'm well. Great to hear from you. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, Ray. Great to hear from you too, man. Oh my gosh. How long has it been? Like what, 25? What is it, 30 years, man?
I think it's been 30 years. It doesn't look like we're aged 30 years, but I think it has been 30 years.
Well, you still look good, man. You still look good. So, how's North Carolina? How's the situation there? Let's talk about COVID. How's it there?
Well, COVID in North Carolina, in terms of testing, is up. The numbers are up. The death rate is down. I think people have kind of gotten away a little bit from social distancing. So the governor has put in place some mandatory orders. So hopefully in the next 4 weeks or so, we can see a downturn and start getting back to phase 3 in our work environment.
Hey, Ray, I have a question for you. How did you get recruited to St. Joe's?
Well, I played on a pretty good AAU team. Had Alonzo Mourning on my team. Brian Stiff ended up playing for UVA and the Nuggets. And our coach was Boo Williams. And Boo was probably one of the top players ever to play at St. Joe's. He played at St. Joe's when they beat DePaul. And Jimmy Black was the assistant coach at St. Joe's, who had been the North Carolina point guard with Michael Jordan when they won the national championship in '82.
Oh, wow, okay.
So in doing my recruiting process, those things came together. A great point guard. St. Joe's had a great pre-med medicine program, and it just fell into place for me.
Well, you know something, Ray? Those are great names. Alonzo Mourning, that's a Hall of Famer, NBA champion, defensive champion, great Georgetown player. Being around that guy, that's impressive. A lot of people know about Stiff. Stiff was an amazing basketball player. Jimmy Black, everybody loves Black. You know, Black was our boy, right, at St. Joe's. Jimmy Black was out of New York City, and just a wonderful assistant coach. He's the one that passed Michael Jordan the ball for the jump shot to win the championship. So it's at UNC. So great stuff. Hey, here's something that I think that the people should know, Ray. Is it true? Now, I know that you were a good point guard back there when you were in high school. Is it true that St. Joe's brought you to up the grade point average of our basketball team? Because we were the smartest guys out there. Your 4.0 brought the whole team's GPA up. Is that true, my friend?
I've heard that before. I don't think it's quite true. From the guests that you have, everybody at St. Joe's is successful.
Ray, I wanted to ask you, what is it like to be from the South?
Wow. That's a hot topic as we
that is
what's going on with civil unrest today. Being from the South has some good points. The weather's nice. People are pretty friendly, but there's definitely some racial disharmony in the South sometimes, and you just have to learn to deal with that. But overall, I think in certain environments in the South, it's very good.
Ray, talking about today and 100 years ago and 15 years ago when you grew up, and everyone now, is so heightened about the situation that happened to George Floyd, heightened about Donald Trump's lack of leadership. I mean, even if you're a Trump fan or not, you have to say he's not a good leader. He's a divisive person. Whether or not you believe in his politics or not is not really my issue. Living up here in Canada, we have some good leaders up here, but a leader is supposed to bring people together and help people heal and help people also deal with adversity. And that's difficult. Here's what I want to know from you. I'm hearing that, and I did that in Philadelphia with my sons. The talk. How do you deal with police officers? How do you respond to them when you get pulled over? If you're walking down the street and the police pulls up on you, did you have to have that talk with your children? And I'm sure your dad had that talk with you, Ray.
Definitely with the civil unrest and what's going on with police brutality. The conversation that I have with my kids is one of treating whoever the person stopping them with respect, not getting an attitude, and trying to show your best side. Because it's such a delicate situation, it can easily get out of hand, and you can see terrible things can happen.
You know what? I understand that, and a lot of my audience and folks who have had here, one of my co-hosts, Sandra D'Amata, is a white woman, and she lives in Canada, and she says she has no idea about that stuff. She says she has no idea about how she doesn't have to talk to her kids about that, because that doesn't encounter her life. So I want my audience to understand that that's an added piece. You have a young man here, Dr. Ray Washington, and as successful as he is, and his family is, he has to protect his children and to teach them how to comport themselves in interacting with authorities.
May I add, though?
Sure.
As a white person, my dad also had that conversation.
Oh, really? Cool. Go ahead.
It's just because, in general, when you think about it, police officers don't need very much education past high school, and their training, once they get the job, is pretty lackluster. So when you're dealing with a police officer, you really need to just be prepared and act like you're dealing with, frankly, a large criminal organization.
That's one way of putting it. How about you, Aman? Well, did your dad ever speak with you about that? Aman's parents are from India, Ray. And so what do you think? What do you think about? Did your parents ever go over how do you deal with police? How do you deal with authorities?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say as formally as maybe as it would have happened with you or your kids, but he did speak to me very generally, just how to be respectful to protect myself, essentially. Because at the end of the day, he goes, you need to protect yourself, you need to protect your family, and you want to get home safe. And these are the kind of things my dad always told me. He said you never argue with them, you be polite, and he had that talk with me, but I would just say maybe in a less serious tone.
Okay, then ours is life and death. You guys, you make it home.
Yeah,
that's basically what Ray's saying, what I'm saying, because I've been in Philadelphia as well. You'll get home, most likely, 90%. In our situation, we have to make sure that we teach our kids so they can get home safe. You had a question for Dr. Ray? Go ahead.
Yeah, it kind of plays off of what we've been talking about. So, speaking of the conversations that you have with your children, how have those changed from the conversations that your parents had with you regarding your upbringing?
Well, I think right now people are more enlightened. When I grew up, we had the same conversation, but nobody talked about it. I didn't talk about it to my friends who were white. I didn't talk to anybody. My father and I had that conversation, and that helped me move through college and into my professional career. Now everybody's talking about it. People are more enlightened. And so my kids are coming to me with questions. What was it like for you, Dad? And what should I do in this situation where at that time there's really only my dad talking to me.
Right, and you know, and that's why I asked you the question about your children, because I figured that they should be asking those questions right now. And Amon has a question for you.
Yeah, Ray. In regard to your professional career, why did you choose to go into medicine?
Now it's time for a commercial break. Our sponsor today is, hey, look at that, something healthy. Vitamin water, coconut water, all that stuff is good for you. All right, finally, my producer got me something that I can give to you people. Hey, it hydrates you, all right? Electrolytes, gives you energy on a hot day. Coconut water. It's a good stuff.
I love helping people. I got injured when I was in 6th grade, broke my arm, and I spent a whole summer with an orthopedic surgeon. And then I realized the value of being able to touch people, help people, see them through illnesses, and that really inspired me to go to medical school.
Wow, that's amazing. I remember when I met Ray, at St. Joe's University. I came in with Marlon Miller, Ray. We all came in together, the same class. And Ray had a different air about him. Just a guy we looked at and said, that's a responsible guy. Now, at night, the parties, okay, let me not go there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about the parties. I don't want to put Ray in there right now. He's a family man. But Ray was always a respectful and well thought of person. So his parents did a great job. Hey, Ray, walk me through the day in the life of Dr. Ray Washington. What is a day in the life of a doctor, a surgeon in North Carolina like?
Well, as you can imagine, when we were at St. Joe's, we had those early morning workouts that we all love. For me, that's carried over.
Yeah, sure.
My wife owns a gym, and so we hit the gym at 5 a.m. And then usually I'm in the operating room by 7:30 and operating until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
Seeing patients. So it's a busy time.
Okay. And in terms of your children, do they want to become doctors too, or are they just look at it differently? Because I remember when my first son was born, and you brought, although people brought stuff like toys and all kinds of stuff, you brought a book. And I was just so impressed by that, because I was like, yes, that's what my son should have as a child. Someone brought him a book. And I read to my children bedtime stories, Ray, up until each of them were like 8 and kissed them. And they're like, Dad, oh, Dad. I'm like, no, I'm kissing you. You're my. So we were a different generation, but I love the fact that you brought me a book, man. So and again, that all 4 of my children went to college. As you know, 2 of them played professionally basketball, and one is now an accountant in a big firm in Philadelphia. Ladies and gentlemen, I have no brains for numbers, so it's not because of my brain power. But I tell you what, Ray made an impact on me. He didn't know this, and how I deal with my family, because as soon as he brought that book, I was like, yeah, you know what? This is where I'm going to steer my kids to. So like books like people were giving high accolades to, like Where the Wild Things Are, all kinds of different stories, dinosaur books, science books. I used to read these things to the kids, man. And you know what? Sometimes they'd fall asleep. Sometimes I would fall asleep. And they said, read that one over again. Read that one over again. So, I want to thank you for being so kind to us when our first kid was born. But tell me about yours. Are they doctors? Are going to be something else? What do they look like they want to do, Ray?
Well, I think they're well prepared to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
My son, he loves the business aspect for marketing, management type thing. And my daughter's more into the sciences. And, She's not sure whether she wants to do physical therapy or health administration or medicine, but she does want to be involved with helping others.
Wonderful. Hey, what was your most memorable time at St. Joe's?
I think just the memories of sharing all those times with my teammates.
Yeah.
We had some good times, some tough times,
yeah.
but we stayed together, and we've got lifelong friendships. I can call any one of my teammates today and say I need some help, and they'd be ready to help.
Oh, absolutely. Like I told Brian Daly, I mean, if your son were to travel to Toronto, he has a place to stay. If he was to travel to Toronto and he's somewhere and he needed help, home cooked meal, whatever, he'd have that. All you guys do have to call. We understand that. That is so true about all of us. We're a good group, and just like any other family, ups and downs with some guys, but we had a good group. Ron Vercruz and all these guys. Brian Daly, You know, all these guys are good guys, and I try to touch base with these guys here and there. Man, I'm so happy to hear from you, man. Hey, what about, let's talk about this one. We lose to Duquesne, and we come off the airplane back in Philly. We drive back to St. Joe's, and coach says what? Practice, 11 o'clock at night, ran us for 2 hours. Do you remember that?
Do I remember it? I tell my kids that story all the time.
Man, these guys don't know anything about that. See, Matt
told us those stories.
I tell Matt and I tell our mom these stories, and these guys look at me like they're afraid. I'm like, yeah. They don't understand. So do you get back to St. Joe's anytime to do any type of work with them and mentor anyone? Do you do anything like that, Dr. Ray?
I do get back quarterly. I'm on the board now. So
Nice.
I get an opportunity to see campus and check on students and student life. So it's an exciting time at St. Joe's with all the growth they have.
Nice. I'm glad you do. Hey, when people found out that you were coming on the program, I'm not going to name names, but 4 guys said, hey, you know what, Coach Dr. Ray, can I get some blue pills? What is that about? Why everybody thinks just because you're a doctor, you got pills for them? What's up with that, man? All these guys from St. Joe's kept on calling me. I want to talk to Ray. I want to ask these questions. I'm like, no. We're not going on the program to ask Dr. Ray for pills. Stop that stuff. You know who they are.
We need to advertise.
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, let me end with the program now. I want to thank Dr. Ray for being on our program. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ray Washington, doing good work there in North Carolina. Thank you, sir, for making time for us.
I enjoy it so much. Look forward to talking to you soon.
We'll talk again. We'll touch base again. There's so much more we can talk about. I'll have you back on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Ray Washington, thank you very much. Thank you, Ray.
All right, thank you. Take care.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank Dr. Raymond Washington, surgeon, for being on our program today, giving us an insight in his daily life, what his kids have to go through, the COVID situation in North Carolina, and just making his time available to come on my program today. Thank him so much. I want to thank my 2 co-hosts, Matt and Aman, for adding flavor to our program today and making this host look good. These guys are good-looking young men, aren't they? Hey, ladies, they're single.
No, I'm not.
He said, no, I'm not. All right. Hey, you know what we see on this program? Little things turn to big things. God bless you.